My wife's friends told her that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But her credit card didn't get the memo. A $2,000 charge at a five-star suite, followed by a jewelry store purchase. Suspicious, I checked her photos. One image stood out, a man's hand holding a champagne glass. That night, I simply said, "Tell me, who wore the bracelet?" Her face turned pale as I placed it on the table. I, 38 male, have been married to Sarah, 36 female, for almost 10 years. We live in Chicago. Normal life. Quiet house, 2 kids, 2 full-time jobs. We both work hard. We've built something solid. Or so I thought. I always believed we were a good team. We had little fights, like anyone, but nothing that ever made me question us. Until now. Every year, Sarah goes on a girls' trip with her college friends. I never once had a problem with it. She'd been doing this since before we got married. Miami, New York, Cancun. This year, it was Vegas. I joked with her when she left. Don't spend too much at the slots. She laughed. It's just a little getaway. Don't worry. I trusted her completely. She flew out on a Thursday. She was supposed to come back Sunday afternoon. The first sign that something was off? She texted less than usual. Normally, she sends pics, views from the hotel, selfies with the girls, random funny stuff. This time, she just sent one photo of a cocktail and a blurry group shot of all of them at a restaurant. No tags, no names. I didn't push it. Figured she just wanted to enjoy her time. She got back late Sunday night. Gave me a hug, seemed tired. I asked how it was. She smiled, said it was fun but exhausting. Said they stayed at the Bellagio, went to a couple clubs, saw a Cirque show. Nothing sounded crazy. It was pretty much what I expected. A few days passed. Then I went to check our joint credit card statement. We usually look it over together at the end of each month, but something made me open it early. That's when I saw it. A $2,038 charge from the Bellagio. I figured, okay, maybe that's for the suite? I don't know hotel rates in Vegas. Still, it seemed high for a few nights split among 5 women. Then I saw the next one. $1,498 at the Jewelers of Las Vegas. Jewelry. Not food. Not drinks. Not show tickets. Jewelry. My stomach dropped. I just stared at it. I scrolled down looking for more. A few smaller charges, Uber, restaurants, some club called Chateau, a couple others. But that jewelry one, it didn't sit right. I didn't remember her showing me anything when she came home. No new necklace, no earrings. Nothing. I didn't say anything that night. I wanted to gather more. We have a shared cloud album from our phones. I went digging through her uploads from the trip. Most were harmless. A blurry club pic. The Bellagio fountain. A plate of sushi. A group photo of her and her friends in their suite. Champagne. Room service. The usual. But one picture stood out. It wasn't even clear at first. In the background of one shot, her holding her phone in the mirror, I noticed a man's hand. Not one of her friends. Not one of their husbands. A man's hand, with a glass of champagne, and on his wrist, a silver bracelet. Chunky. Shiny. Not something you'd mistake for a woman's. There was no explanation. None of the girls were visible. Just her phone, and a man's hand. I zoomed in. Looked at it again. That bracelet. It was too much. The next night, I waited until we were both sitting down after dinner. I printed out the photo and put it on the table. I didn't yell. I didn't say anything dramatic. I just asked, "Tell me, who wore the bracelet?" She looked at the photo, then at me. She didn't say anything for a full 10 seconds. Then her face changed, drained of color. She looked pale, genuinely scared. She tried to laugh at first. Said, "What bracelet?" I pointed again. Then she got quiet. She told me there was a guy they met at the casino. He was charming, apparently. Bought them drinks. Followed them back to the suite. But it was nothing, she said. We just talked. I asked her if he bought the jewelry. She shook her head. I asked if she bought it for him. Her face twitched. Then I asked the big one, "Did you sleep with him?" She didn't answer. She didn't say yes. She didn't say no. She just started crying. That was enough for me. I haven't slept in our bed since. I moved to the guest room that night. The next day, I took screenshots of everything. The credit card charges. The photo. I haven't talked to her friends yet, but I plan to. I want their versions. I feel sick. 10 years, and she throws it away for some stranger in Vegas? Because her friends thought it was fun or freeing? What hurts most isn't even the betrayal. It's the lying. Coming home, hugging me, acting like nothing happened, and then charging the damn jewelry to our card like I'd never notice. I'm trying to hold it together for the kids. They don't know. They can't know. Not yet. I haven't decided what I'm going to do. Part of me wants to burn everything down. Another part of me, stupid, weak, wants to believe maybe it wasn't what it looks like. But I know better. The bracelet, the suite, the tears, her silence. She didn't even try to deny it. I don't know where this story ends, but it's definitely not going back to what it was before Vegas. I didn't talk to Sarah much the next few days. I barely looked at her. I focused on the kids, on work, on anything that kept me from exploding. She tried to act like life was still normal, like it would all just blow over if she stayed quiet long enough. I didn't give her that out. A few days later, I finally said, "I need the truth. All of it." She started crying again. Said she didn't mean for anything to happen. That she was drunk. That her friends encouraged it. That it was just one night. That word, Just set me off. I said, you brought a stranger into our marriage. You don't get to say just. She told me his name was Nathan. Said he was in town for a tech conference. They met at the roulette table. He was funny. She kept using that word funny. I asked if she got his number. She said no. I didn't believe her. I took her phone the next morning while she was in the shower. Looked through her texts. Deleted. Instagram messages? Also wiped clean. But there it was in her email. A receipt from the jeweler. She bought him a bracelet. It wasn't the other way around. She picked it out. Paid for it. The bracelet I saw in the photo was her gift. I felt like I'd been punched in the throat. That night, I told her what I found. Her face crumbled. She didn't even try to lie. Just cried. Again. I asked her why. Over and over. She said she felt unseen. That she missed being wanted. That things between us had gotten routine. Routine. I've worked 50-hour weeks to support us. I coached our son's soccer team. I made her coffee every morning for 10 years. I stood by her through her father's death. I planned our anniversary weekends when she forgot. I never once stepped out of line. But routine was her excuse. The worst part? Her friends knew. I reached out to one, Rachel. We've known her for years. I texted, did you know what happened in Vegas? She called me in less than 5 minutes. She didn't even pretend. She said, look, Mark. I thought she'd tell you. She was in a dark place. We just wanted her to have fun. Fun. They were all in on it. Every single one of them knew she hooked up with some random guy in a hotel suite, and not one of them said a damn word. They watched her break our marriage, then helped her cover it up. The next day, Sarah's friend Amanda texted me. Said, please don't blame Sarah too hard. We all made mistakes that night. We all made mistakes. It wasn't just Sarah. That trip was a free-for-all. Apparently, they all cheated. All 5 of them. Married women. Mothers. At a damn tech convention in Las Vegas. I was stunned. Later, I checked her location history through Google. That weekend, she turned off her tracking. She'd never done that before. Her trail vanished Friday night and didn't come back until Sunday morning. She knew what she was doing. She knew it was wrong. I haven't filed for divorce yet. I told her she needs to stay at her sister's place for now. I need space. I can't even breathe around her. She didn't argue. Now here's where it gets worse. About a week after she left, I got an envelope in the mail. No return address. Inside were 3 printed photos. One of them was the same one I saw, her in the man's hand with the bracelet. But the other 2? One was Sarah kissing him on the balcony of the suite. Full-on, deep kiss. Her hand on his face. The second was them in bed. Under the covers. His arm around her. The bracelet right there on his wrist. My heart just gave out for a moment. No explanation. No note. Just those photos. I have no idea who sent them. Maybe one of the friends who cracked under guilt. Maybe Nathan himself. Maybe someone who was at the hotel and saw what happened. All I know is, any doubt I had, it's gone. She didn't slip up. She didn't make a mistake. She chose this. She lived in it. And now I have proof. I haven't shown her the photos yet. I don't know what I'll do when I do. All I know is the truth keeps unfolding, and every time I think it can't get worse, it does. The photos stayed hidden for 2 days. I kept them in my desk drawer, tucked between some old birthday cards and warning manuals. Every time I opened that drawer, my fingers hovered over them. But I wasn't ready. Not until I got the call. It came in the middle of a Wednesday. I was at work, trying to pretend like anything still mattered. My phone buzzed, unknown number. I let it ring. Then it buzzed again. Same number. I answered on the 3rd try. Is this Mark? The voice was deep, calm. Yeah. Who is this? A pause. My name's Nathan. I was with Sarah in Vegas. I didn't speak. I just stared at the wall. He continued, look, I'm not trying to cause trouble. This whole thing messed me up more than I expected. You expected it to mess you up? I finally said. I didn't know she was married. Now I sat up. My chest tightened. She told me she was divorced, he said. Said she was finalizing everything. That's why she didn't wear a ring. I swear, man, I had no idea she had a family. I didn't know what to say. This stranger, sounded more broken than she did. He told me they had spent the entire weekend together. It wasn't a one-night thing. They met Thursday night and didn't leave each other's side until Sunday morning. He said they talked about moving to different cities. That she asked about his job in Seattle. That she said she felt free for the first time in years. That word again. Free. Then he said something I'll never forget. She cried the night before she left. Told me she wished she didn't have to go back yet. I asked if we could stay in touch, and she told me no. That it was only for Vegas. But it didn't feel that way, man. It felt real. I asked, why are you calling me now? He sighed. Because someone sent me a photo of you. Holding the bracelet. I don't know who. But I figured it was time you knew everything. Someone had sent him a photo too? What the hell was happening? After the call ended, I finally pulled out the envelope again. This time I checked it more carefully. I realized there was a tiny smudge on the bottom corner, like someone had touched it with greasy fingers. Restaurant grease, maybe. And then I remembered something. A few weeks earlier, before the trip, Sarah left her phone on the kitchen counter. Our youngest was playing with it, flipping through pictures. He accidentally opened her group chat with her friends. The Wild Five was the name of the chat. She grabbed the phone fast and laughed it off. I didn't think anything of it. Now I was thinking everything of it. I logged into our iPad, which sometimes auto-syncs with her cloud account. Scrolled through the message preview archive. Most of it was wiped. But there was one recent message from Amanda. If Rachel talks, it's over. You better shut that down. Now I knew. The envelope. The photo. The call. It wasn't random. Someone in her group was cracking. Someone was tired of carrying the lie. That night, I called Rachel. She didn't even pretend. I'm sorry, Mark, she said. I didn't want to be part of this. I told them it would come out eventually. I asked who else cheated. She named them all. Then she said something that twisted my stomach. You weren't the only husband she lied to. But you were the only one she made plans to leave for someone else. That hit harder than anything. She had a way out planned. An escape. With Nathan. With a stranger. I confronted Sarah the next morning. Laid the photos down again. This time, I laid the phone down too, with the call log from Nathan. She looked like she wanted to run. I asked, were you going to leave us? Were you planning to walk away? She didn't deny it. She just whispered, I didn't know what I wanted. That was the most honest thing she's said in weeks. Now here's the last twist, at least for now. Last night, I got a message from someone I didn't recognize. It was from a throwaway email address. No name, no info. All it said was, you're not the only husband. You're just the first one who found out. And attached? A group photo. Vegas. The suite. 5 women. 5 men. Each couple paired up. One of the men, smiling, arm around his woman, is my friend Brian. He's married to Rachel. The same Rachel who just told me everything. So now I'm sitting here with one burning question. Did she tell me the truth because she felt guilty? Or because she thought I already knew about her? I didn't sleep for 2 nights after that anonymous email. I stared at the group photo for hours. It was all there. Rachel and Brian, smiling like they were just on a couple's retreat. Sarah and Nathan, champagne in hand. The other women, draped over men I didn't recognize, but I had no doubt they weren't their husbands either. I printed the photo and drove to Rachel and Brian's house on a cold Saturday afternoon. Brian opened the door, smiling like an idiot. Mark, what's up, man? I shoved the photo in his chest. How long? He blinked, looked down. His face collapsed. I saw the blood drain in real time. I didn't yell. I just said, tell Rachel she broke her silence first. She made her choice. Then I turned and left. That night, I called Sarah's friends. All of them. Group call. One by one, I asked, did your husband see this photo? Silence. Then one voice, Amanda, broke. Oh my God, what is wrong with you? No, I said. What is wrong with you? You all sat around and turned marriage into a game show in Vegas. Then I ended the call. The next day, Sarah came over to see the kids. I sat her down after they were asleep. I laid out everything. The photo, the call with Nathan, the email, the group's lies, Brian. I said, there's nothing left for you to confess. So just be honest, for once. She finally broke. Tears. Ugly crying. The kind that makes you feel sorry even when you don't want to. I was going to leave, she said. I planned to tell you after Vegas. I told Nathan I was filing for divorce. I thought it would be easier if I came back with something real. I asked, you thought breaking your marriage and breaking your children's world in one weekend was the easier path? She said nothing. She didn't say sorry. She just collapsed into herself. Then she admitted one last thing. I wasn't the only one thinking about leaving. Amanda has a condo lease in Denver. Rachel already had a second phone. We were all living double lives, Mark. So that was the truth. It wasn't just cheating. It was escape. They wanted out and used Vegas as a test run. A vacation from morality. The next day, the husbands started texting me. One by one. Word had spread. Brian tried to defend himself. Said Rachel manipulated him. I didn't respond. Amanda's husband called me crying. Said he found texts after I blew it open. One of them said, it's Vegas, babe. I'm not your wife there. And now? The aftermath. Sarah moved into her sister's place full-time. I kept the kids. She sees them on weekends. We're officially separated now. I'm not ready to say divorce. Not because I'm hopeful, because I'm tired. Tired of lawyers. Tired of explaining. Tired of hurting. The other marriages? Rachel and Brian are done. Amanda's husband filed. The others are hanging by a thread. As for Nathan, he emailed again. Said he was sorry he was part of the destruction. Said he wishes he never went to that casino. Funny. I don't even hate him. He didn't lie to me. She did. Sarah sent me a long message a few nights ago. Said she's in therapy. That she's working on herself. That she misses the life we had. But life doesn't work like that. You don't get to burn a house down and ask if you can still sleep in the bed. I sat outside last night, watching my son play catch with the neighbor kid. I thought about how one photo led to everything. One bracelet. One glass of champagne. One man's hand. I'll never look at a celebration the same way again. But here's what I've learned. Betrayal doesn't just break your heart. It rewrites your entire life in a language you never asked to learn. And now I speak it fluently. I'm not healed. I don't know if I'll ever be. But I'm clear. And for now, that's enough.